Oh, hello, slimy filters. First thing first, yeah, alright, I know my voice is a bit dodgy at the minute. Not been very well for the past few days, so I think I'm over the worst of it, but yeah, I don't know, full of mucus and phlegm and all that, caught a dose, but yeah, the more subdued blah 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 was because this time around I'm going to do just a nice, good, honest, old-fashioned restoration, or resto plus, or whatever you want to call them, on this, which isn't supercharged, or doesn't have a V8, and unlike my Gaslands videos, there's no machine guns involved, or lasers, or rocket launchers. This is a Comma FC milk float, or bottle float, as it says on the bottom. What it actually says on the bottom is Comma bottle float, made in England by Lesney, number 21. And there we are. Now, the Comma company first started, I think it was about 1905, something like that, and officially ceased to exist in 1979, although vehicles that were made by Comma were made up until the mid-80s. I'll explain the reasons why in a little bit. But this particular vehicle, it's a Lesney Matchbox series, was first released in 1961, and there are two versions of this. The version that was produced from 61 to 62 is lime green, a sort of light or lime green in colour, and it has a sticker with milk bottle on the doors, and the sign on the top was a I think it was a red sign with "Drink More Milk" in white letters. Then the version that was out from 1963 until they stopped making it in 1967, I believe, was exactly the same model, except the stickers of the milk bottle were replaced with a sticker of a cow, and the sign on the top was basically a reverse of the original sign. It was white background with red letters on, but it still said "Drink More Milk." The actual Comma vehicles themselves were produced from around about the early 60s. We're talking like 59, 60, 61, up until 1983. They stopped making this particular type of vehicle. Started off being called I think it was the Comma FC. Let me just check that, because I can't remember. My brain's still a bit chunky at the minute. Yeah, Comma FC. The Comma FC, well, the model Comma FC was made from 1960 until 1976. Then they changed some things around and called it the Comma PB, and then later it became the Comma Space Van in 1974. Chrysler bought Comma in the late 70s, so then it changed its name again to the Dodge Space Van, and then they finally stopped making it in 1983. Comma was a company that made, they didn't really make cars or anything like that, they just made sort of industrial vehicles, or light industrial vehicles. For example, the Comma FC is a van, and kind of like the Ford Transit van that came along later. It was, you could easily reconfigure it. You just buy a van, and then you could, like what's been doing this, buy a van, chop the sides off and the back, the back doors, and they could have access to the internals for stacking bottles on without having to go in the back, and if the bottles of orange juice are back here and you're here and you can't get at the sides, whatever. But yeah, unlike the milk floats that you had when I was a lad, it actually has a proper engine in. It's not electric. The milk floats that were around when I was a lad were battery powered, and they just trundled along. They were slow as hell, because you didn't really need speed, and realistically if the only time you saw a milkman would be if you were up at like 5:30 in the morning, because how it used to be was that you didn't get your milk and stuff from the local shop or the supermarket. You got it from the dairy, and there'd be a dairy close by to where you lived here, and you know, you'd ring up and say, can I have a pint of milk a day please, or 2 pints of milk. And you could also buy things like cheese and butter from there. You can also get, you know, like I say, orange juice and stuff like that. And the milkman would come along, leave it at your front door before anybody was awake. And you know, the only people that would be around at that time would probably be the milkman, the postman, and maybe people on the way to work at the pit or the steelworks or something like that, you know, the strange people. But yeah, so just looking at this particular model, it's as you see, I haven't stripped the paint off. This is how it came. The original lime green paint is 99% gone, and somebody has tried to, or somebody has repainted over it with what appears to be some sort of dark green enamel, although it's kind of shiny, slightly metallic look leads me to believe that it's actually nail polish they've used. It's quite tough. I mean, I can scrape little bits away with my thumbnail. Oh, nearly started coughing then. Yeah, I can scrape little bits away with my thumbnail, but not much. It's on there solid and tight, but you can see, or I can see, you can't, the blood dog's barking now for some reason, but I can see the original lime green paint underneath. I need to have a drink, otherwise I'm going to start coughing. Oh, I've got a nice cup of coffee here. Let's see. That's better. But yeah, the lime green paint is underneath. The bit with the crates of bottles in, it's okay. That doesn't look like there's any damage to that, but it is rather dirty, so I'm going to have to give that a nice clean scrub. The windscreen looks dirty, maybe a bit scratched, so it'll need a polish. The base is fine, the wheels are fine. There's no rivets to drill off on this one. It's just one of those ones, one of the early Matchboxes that's just held in by friction tabs. I don't need to take the wheels off because you know, there's no real need to. I can just you know, spray some black over that, and then give it a bit of a touch up. The wheels will still roll and everything. I'll be fine. So I'll come back to you in a minute when I start disassembling it, and we'll see where we go from there.
A few moments later.
Right then, so I've had a good cough and a drink. And let's have a look at getting this part now. Now, it's held in place with 2 tabs, one at the front, one at the back. There's a handy dandy little slot here at the front for you to be able to put a flat-headed screwdriver in. So I'm going to try this one first, see if I can get it out. Basically, you just pop them out by flexing the bottom plate, and one of the tabs should come loose, well, should pop out of its hole, and then the bottom will just fall off. But doesn't look like no, doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that, so I'm going to get my little set of small screwdrivers out, see what we've got here. Try this one. Got one here, very small one, see if we can get that in there. The only problem with these is when you do something like this with these little engineering screwdrivers, you can end up breaking the tips off the screwdrivers, which isn't good. Ooh, making a bit of progress there. You see the back end is flexing out, so let's get it in. And nope, not yet. Just needs a little bit more persuasion maybe on this side. You can hear everything clicking and grunting as it, you know, it loosens up, but nothing's popping out yet. Oh, something just, nope. I'm just checking, make sure that wasn't the tip of my screwdriver breaking off, but it wasn't. I managed to bend the rear bumper a little bit, which isn't what I was going for, but come on, out you pop. It's nearly there. It's nearly there. God, this is contrary as hell, isn't it? See, the bottom plate is moving around a bit now, but not enough to get the damn thing out. Come on, off you pop. Hang on. If I hold that there and then push the wider screwdriver into that gap, that might give me the leverage I need to get the thing to pop off. In you go. And nope. Come on. Oh damn it! I've bent the base. Imagine I could just hammer that back into. Just hammer that back in. Oh god, this is contrary. I've seen quite a few other people do you know, this particular vehicle, and others like it that only have this friction tab, you know, this friction tab thing going off. I've never seen them have this much trouble. Probably me. There we go. Managed to loosen the back up so the front just pops off. So there we are. Off comes the bottom, and you can see there where I've bent the back. That'll just bend back. I won't need to hammer that. I can just use a pair of pliers. Very carefully use a pair of pliers to bend that back in. But yeah, that's the base. The wheels are fine. Wheels are fine. I've no need to take those off, like I said. Yep, that's great. So the interior stuck in there a bit, so we'll just give it a little poke with the screwdriver. I don't need these anymore, so let's put them away. A little poke with the screwdriver to get the inside out. Oh, there we go. Plastic bits thing. So we've got the, yep, it's just dirty, it just needs a good clean. Yep, so yep, that's fine. There's no cracks or damage to it. A little bit of paint on there, so whoever it is that's painted this, so had a go at painting it, seemed to have slopped a little. The windscreen, that's held in there by, that's friction holding that in place there. Just want to be careful because I don't want to destroy the windscreen. Out it pops. Yep, very, very dirty. It does have some writing on the top. What does that writing say? Well, it said bottle float, so yeah, that's the particular windscreen moulding they made out of green transparent plastic, specifically for the bottle float. Otherwise I wouldn't have written it on. There's a sort of little round window there at the back, obviously so the driver can see out the back. And yeah, that needs a good clean, needs a damn good clean. But that's it for internals. You can see inside the remnants of the original lime green paint scheme. Like I say, the bits on the outside where whoever's owned it at some point in the past has used dark green on it, but it didn't take very well. But yeah, I'm not going to bother putting this in the paint stripper. I think what I will do is get the knot Dremel out and get the the remaining paint off with a wire wheel. May do that on camera, may not.
Eventually.
Right then, so I've put the plastic bits and the base plate in some hot soapy water to soak for a bit before I get at them with the a brush. You know, old toothbrush will do the job nicely. And here we are with the knot Dremel. I'm going to use this old metal brush on it. There's still some life left in it, you know, but it's gonna go in the bin probably after this. But there's enough life left in it to do this job. I'm wearing eye protection because I say I'm wearing eye protection. It's a pair of sunglasses, but it's opaque enough to be able to see what I'm doing. Oh god, the lenses need a little bit of a wipe. There we go. Oh god. So yeah, so I'm just gonna give this the knot Dremel treatment and get that paint off. Obviously, yeah, like I say, you do need to wear eye protection doing this because these lovely little brush bits really do like to fly off, and you get one stuck in your hand, that's painful enough. Get one of those in your eye and, well, I don't feel like going to casualty tonight. So right, anyways, let's get on. We'll do it in hyper time because yeah, I don't think, you know, fucking 5 minutes of watching me buzz away this and listening to the noise that it makes so very good. So you can listen to the annoying hyper time noise for about 30 seconds instead. Here we go.
Start up. Time out.
Holy shit, that paint is just not coming off. Even with the fucking wire wheel. Yeah, screwdriver and scrape's going to happen. Ow, Jesus. Yeah, a couple of times there I've just, well, as you can see, that wire wheel is now completely dead. Got hit in the face a couple of times with bits of wire flying about, but ow, shit, God, they're everywhere. fucking hell. Yeah, I suppose that gives you a good demonstration of why eye protection is very, very good, because I felt quite a few of those hit me in the face. But it has brought some of the paint off. It's just that it's a completely unsafe way of doing that one. I have seen people using wire wheels to get paint off before, but this stuff really is on there really tight. So yeah, I think the screwdriver and scrape method is going to be the best for this. If that were thingy, yeah, screwdriver and scrape's going to be best for this. Paint stripper would probably take far too long, even just to get that little bit of paint off. I think paint stripper's unnecessary just to get that little bit off, but I'm not willing to give myself lacerations to get that paint off. So screwdriver, scrape, straight away. All I've done is just run that along there and paint's just popped off. Should have done that really at the beginning. So I'm going to do all the rest of this off camera. I might use a brass wheel to buff it up, or a brass brush, so I can either use a hand brush or the spinny thing, but I'm going to do the rest of this off camera, and then when I come back we can start painting and stuff. Oh, right, and we're back now. Yeah, apologies for the first part of this video being a bit shit, because I was ill, very ill, and for some reason I decided to make a video without thinking it through properly, and that's why my brains weren't working very well. But I'm a bit better now, so let's carry on. Thankfully I didn't make any massive fuck ups. Well, first of all, where I bent the base plate, I've managed to get that back in, like I said, with just using some pliers and being careful. The actual body of the vehicle, I managed to get all the really thick. It's like I say, I don't know if it was some sort of enamel paint or whether it was nail polish. It was very contrary at coming off. So it took me a while to scrape as much off as I could using a combination of a flat-headed screwdriver and a scalpel, because I needed to use a scalpel to get into all the little creases and grooves that's on the body. There's not many, but there's enough where you can't really stick a flathead screwdriver in there. It's too big. Yeah, so I did that, and then I gave the entire body a light sand, because where the metal was exposed there was a bit of crustiness and a lot of dirt. Gave it a good wash, and now I've applied a white undercoat to it. The body is nice and smooth and there's no nasty bits everywhere. The undercoat has gone on quite well, which is nice, so that's the thing. As for the other bits, I gave the windscreen a clean up. There's still a little bit of paint left on it, but it's in places where where you can't see them. Basically, once it's back in place, you can't see them. Base plate was dead easy, like I said there. It's still got paint on it. I might just leave it as is. I might just give it a lick of paint, but yeah, the wheels do need a little bit of TLC, just a bit of a wash and stuff like that to get on there. But that's all fine. The actual plastic bit at the back with all the milk bottles in, that's cleaned up nice. There's a little bit of green paint on it, which I'm going to get off with a scalpel, but literally I put them in some hot soapy water and let them soak for a while, and then got busy at them with a toothbrush. And the water just looked like a mud pool when I'd finished. It was just these three pieces on their own were so dirty. This milk float must have taken part in some sort of off-road rally race. The amount of mud that was on there and in all the little nooks and crannies and everything like that. So this milk float has been well played with since it was made, which is sometime in the mid to late 60s. So it's it's 80s, 90s, we're talking nearly 60 years. Yeah. But yeah, the plans going forward for this one, oh god, I said going forward, I hate that. It's one of those fucking awful buzzwords. Ugh. The idea was I was going to paint the body back in the kind of standard mint green colour, or light green, I'm not quite sure how to describe it, colour that it originally came in. I might not do that. I don't particularly like painting green. And I just wanted to try and look a little bit, kind of unique. Might not be possible. I haven't fully 100% decided on that. The body colour is, it's something, take it or leave it. It's not a massively important thing. It's just about getting a nice flat coverage and everything like that. That's great. And then adding on the details, obviously. The thing which is causing me the most kind of what am I going to do with it thing is this part, which is the back part, which has all the crates of bottles in. And being as this vehicle kind of originates in the sort of mid to late 60s and might still have been around in the early 70s, I didn't want to. You see, one of the things is like I said, this is why it's a kind of a restoration plus or a custom. Is why I call it that instead of just a straight restoration. Straight restoration would just go back mint green and stickers and then just leave this as is. But I quite like adding details to my stuff. And one of the things I wanted to do was to actually paint in these crates. But to make it kind of look authentic, I wanted to paint the crates as they would have appeared on the back. Now, this is a daft thing. I've spent a few hours today actually researching sort of like milk floats and stuff like that from the 60s and early 70s, and I cannot find out whether the crates that they used back in those days were wood, plastic or metal. There's enough evidence to show that all three were in use. It certainly did surprise me to see something in the 60s using plastic milk crates. That was kind of something. See, when I was a lad, milk floats that you saw were electric, and they had plastic crates, and then the milkman would, park up somewhere on the street and get out, and he'd have a basket, and he'd put bottles or whatever people had ordered from the dairy in his basket, and then he'd go around and deliver them to the houses and stuff like that. Then I've seen some that the bottles in there are in like wire baskets, some in metal crates, some like say in just plastic crates, and some in wooden crates. So it's kind of created a bit of a like, so I'm not 100% sure what kind of colour scheme I'm going to do the crates. The bottles is a significantly easier task, because the bottles, they can say, well, I can kind of ink in the areas here and then paint the bottles, paint the bottles white, and then I wanted to have some, as just plain, silver top or green top milk or whatever you want to call it. Or blue top milk is standard. What is it? Blue? Yeah, in this country, blue top is just normal milk. Green top is semi-skimmed. Red top is full skimmed. And then you get that horrible, awful, was it sterilised stuff that tastes foul, that some people drink because they, have some sort of weird perversion or something. I don't know. But yeah, then you also get the pints of orange juice that people buy. So I'd like to put in bottles of different things. You could also buy pop from some milkmen as well. You could also buy like bottles of I wouldn't say Coke, but cola and lemonade and things like that. So I'd like to add that little detail in on the back of there. So that's where we are at the moment. I'm gonna make the decision about what colour I want to do the body, and then I'm going to do that first before I get started on the other little bits of detailing. So yeah, that's where we are. I'm feeling better, so I should be able to get this done fairly quick without second guessing myself, or mucking things up, or having to stop and have cough breaks every 2 minutes. Still coughing, just not as bad. Right, so let's get on with it.
Eventually.
Right, so there we are with a bit of paint on it. I made a decision with regards to the colour, and I decided to go with blue. Blue and white. Because that was traditionally the colour scheme of the old co-op dairies that you used to have here. I'm not sure whether they're still around anymore. But yeah, blue, but it's a different colour blue to the co-op. I just started off base coat of royal blue over the white. Once that had dried, I did a 50-50 mix of royal blue and azure blue, put that on, and then after that I just kind of highlighted away with probably a 75 to 25 mix in favour of the azure blue, just to give it that kind of light blue look. And then I've just put some white bits over the you know, the little bits and bobs of detailing. There's still a few bits to finish off, like I've got to bring out the details, do the grille and the what they call it, the grille and the little bumpers, and no rear lights on this, even though it's a motor vehicle to go on the roads. There's no rear lights, which is a little bit strange to me, but yeah, that's just the body. And next time I come back, it should be ready for, you know, everything putting back together and everything like that, once I've done the bottles and everything. So there we are.
12 seconds later.
And here we are, all done, all painted, and the bits that need it have got a nice coat of shiny lacquer on them. Yeah, so I painted the crates, got the body done, give the internal windscreen a bit of a shine and a polish, and what they call it, just put a coat of black on the bottom there. So there we are. So let's do a little bit of sorcery, and we'll have all this lot together. Here we go. Woohoo! Now that's magic. Yep, there we are. It's all together. Went together a lot easier than what it was to take apart, I'll tell you that. Mind you, it didn't help that when I was taking it apart, my brains weren't working very well. But yeah, there we are. It's all together. Still rolls quite nicely on its old Lesney wheels. And see there, the milkman, Ernie the milkman. If you get that reference, allow yourself 10 points. Ernie the milkman's got there, he's got his red top, he's got his blue top, he's got his green top, and he's got some little bottles of orange juice in there as well, just in case anybody fancies a little bit of something different. But yeah, here he is to trundle along in the wee small hours of the morning. You know, the only people he'll probably ever see is maybe guys coming back from work down the pit, or postmen, or maybe even people that have been out drinking all night and are only just coming home. And maybe if they walk up to him and speak to him nicely enough and buy a bottle of milk off him, he'll let them take a little seat on the back of his milk float here while he drives along on his rounds, and you know, so they don't have to walk all the way home, you know. But there we are. So yeah, quite pleased with how this has turned out. It's been the first kind of proper kind of resto thing I've done for a while, and you know, no machine guns involved, no big engines, no having to grind out big sections to put, you know, big ass engines and massive wheels and stuff like that in. It's nice to just, you know, do a little resto from time to time, even though this is just a resto plus. You know, I've put my own stamp on it. You know, it's not mint green, and I'm not bothering with the stickers and anything. I may come back at some point in the future and write something on this here sign, but you know, not today. I'm not feeling up to it today. But yeah, so better pictures will follow, and you know, thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll see you next time.